Welcome back, everybody, to the CCL as we're heading into our second grand final of the night, heading over towards the southeast region. We got Mars Hill taking on Newberry and a brand new set of casters to jump into the booth. My name is Seymour, alongside me, Zep. And Zep, I understand you're taking on a couple more tasks tonight.
Yeah, I have the task for at least the first couple of rounds of getting to observe alongside the casting. So all I can do for everyone's watching at home today is apologize in advance. Multitasking, not my strong suit, but of course here today. Happy to give it a go for all the folks watching at home and the people in the CCL. And really excited to get this one underway as well. Mars Hill Esports versus Newberry Esports, two fantastic teams to have gotten to this point. Only one's going to be able to win the grand final from this point, and the only way we're going to see who's going to win is when we get underway. So very excited to get into this map number one, and also just getting a feel of the maps that these teams are going to be playing in this one as we take a look at it. Best of 7, loads of maps to pick from, starting with the Skyline hardpoint.
Well, how about our matchup before that, too, with St. Clair taking down Fisher to top off that region. But for this one, yeah, look, a little bit of a Hacienda there, too, just like we saw for St. Clair last one. We get the Rewind, Search and Destroy for our second map. If we make it all the way to the end, Zap, we get that dealership, Search and Destroy. And I've been, seeing a lot of dealership this weekend on land, but we don't get that if we don't get a Game 7. So both of these teams got to strap in if they want to see that new map.
Yeah, I haven't actually had the opportunity to even see that map in action yet since it's been added into the rotation, so I would be kind of excited to get that far. Of course, not overly excited, it's quite late in my part of the world, but if it goes that far, at least we get the reward of seeing sort of a relatively new map in action and seeing how these teams have adjusted to that map, because again, it's a newer one in the pool, teams haven't had as long to work on it, so it offers for some sort of wild plays that are a little bit more out there, because teams just aren't as well versed in the reps.
No, and I think that's the way a lot of teams are kind of like looking at it as well. I wouldn't say the same for Rewind, just because, Rewind was there off of the game's release. But for something like Dealership, it will come into the rep. Like, it will come down to reps for some teams. And as the season progresses, at least for this stage, some teams will use it in like their map 2s, maybe a little bit more, or even at a best of 7 towards, your map 5s. But for right now, I'd say that a lot of them are going to be kind of steering clear of that brand new map, especially for grand finals. But for map 1 in Skyline, for both of these teams kicking things off, they're going to size up where you're looking at Mars Hill, the favorites, to see if they can shut down Newberry once again. Both of these teams went head-to-head in the winners final, and it was a Mars Hill 3-0 over Newberry College. So this is going to be a tough one for Newberry.
Yeah, absolutely. And so far, off to a pretty decent start, trying to get in, breaking this hill, picking up a nice kill there towards the point. But again, just a bit of a checkerboard kill feed from this point on, as teams are remaining outside at Mars Hill. So far, have the majority of the time as this is trying to get in for that break, as they're just trying to get as much time as they can in P1. But of course, we all know it's P2, it's where you want to be. And you take a look at where these teams are setting up as well. It is going to be Aaron for the side of Mars Hill setting up for those P2 spawns. Newberry already having to fight from behind and not going to be in the right spot to do so as they spawn out for P2.
This Mars Hill team was already good too before, but like since Aaron has, joined this roster halfway through the season, I have risen the ranks to new heights. And obviously for CCL, one of the teams that a lot look at to make deep runs into the playoffs. And I think for this showcase, Newberry get to test themselves again at how they can push Newberry or Mars Hill against the ropes. We take a look now at the break for Newberry, as a couple of them are going to get set up to see if they can shut down this P2 hold. Unfortunately, Kate Beasley dove at by Trake, so he's going to put together a quick 2-piece, and I'm just going to stunt this attack for a little bit longer.
Yeah, Mars Hill, to be credit to them, they're doing an immaculate job of just holding down this point. Lucho locking it down. It is going to be going towards that P3 area now, where you will see the rotations come in and who's going to get there first. Lucho has still been managing to hold, and it is Diff who has rotated now for P3. So crucial sort of reset for the side of Newberry as they try to make sure that this time isn't getting racked up against them. Of course, you know what this map, all it takes is just a couple of hills to find yourself over 100 points down, and Newberry giving themselves an opportunity, but quickly getting wiped off this point. It is all Mars Hill so far.
Speed fast for the Skyline so far. Newberry, couple kills, but has been the time that has eluded them so far. Look at Diff, nice shots there. Instant trade by Trakes as it is just a full feed of Mars Hill time and time again. 6 in a row for Zuner. 10-3 start to this game. Everybody firing on all cylinders for this side, but take a look at this. Eternal slides out. Thought he had all three. Kate Beasley gets the trade, and Newberry, they've broken.
Yeah, Newberry broke in. They have the spawns as well for New, but Mars Hill have also been able to prove in the way that they're playing that they have no problem breaking from front. They are the aggressors. There's a huge KD disparity on display at the moment as they continue just to get picks throughout the map, as Zuner now with his teammate Tranks getting moved through to the back, not getting the spot there low, as Beasley going to be trying to hold now this right side. The spawns being crucial for Newberry, but of course they don't want to get trapped in. They need to be actually able to get in and make some damage, but a nice wave of kills from them there, giving them a chance to regain some of this time.
This is important for Newberry, but can they hold on? If losing teammates left, right, and center, can he hold his own, those cells? Watch the backside, some good shots to the first one, but not able to finish it off. Lucho in the slide, Diff alone. The trades are through, and Mars Hill have broken. So Newberry, last 27 seconds, you got to decide, do you want to take another swing at this? It looks like Eternals might give it a go, but those nades come through, and I think this is just a GG go next kind of round.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Mars have just been in complete control of this entire rotation. Anything that Newberry getting a break now would be virtually in vain. You got to hit the reset, you got to get on that P1, and you really have to just start damage limitation at this point. Even if map number 1 is not going to go your way, you do not want to be giving your opposition team too much momentum to take into the rest of the series, because you have plenty of time to regain yourself. So there's no point giving that side momentum into a search and destroy where they could all of a sudden rack up 2 maps in a row and you're left chasing a very long series.
Let's see how far Newberry can whittle down this lead now. A couple kills from Cells up top, looking for his 5th in a row. Hits the deck, pops up, but Zuner off the initial tags, able to finish off that body. So everybody from Mars Hill looking to group up for a shot at this P1 break. They found their way in. Kate Beasley from the outside. He's going to take the long route through pool, but into Jim. He's got to be so careful for this one. Lucho posted up. Nice help from Div. 2 down, and Newberry looking for the scrap time, but this is the P2 hold that you need most and more importantly.
Yeah, well, they've done a great job so far pulling themselves back into this one, finally getting a little bit of time, but are they aware of tracks here around the back, trying to make life difficult, going to pick up the trade here. Brilliant playing off the teammate. Now Track's going to make his way towards the side of the point, and again, just continue to be a nuisance. They will pick up maybe 1 and definitely 2. What a wave of kills there from Mars Hill, virtually guaranteeing them the spawns. And now they'll be able to set up in this P2, rack up more time in the key point. There's going to be a split hit here as Cells is going to be the only one going through the piano side. The rest going to hit through that kitchen. Could be huge on the pinch, but a little slow towards that kitchen side means they're just going to be able to get picked off, as it is Beasley the last alive, but not for long. Ooh. Mars Hill with a very, very successful hold here in this point. Their positional play has been exemplary, and even the times they haven't been able to hold on to the spawns, they're usually very quick in getting them back, or they just blunt force it through the front and have it work for them.
And I think they got a firm grasp on this map so far as a 110-point lead. It's definitely building the confidence for this roster heading throughout this grand final. And Newberry, I mean, it shows and reflects in the terms of the performances of some of these players and just how hard they are getting punched at this moment by Trakes and Zuner, who together have 49 kills and only 23 deaths. This is incredible out of the two of them. So Zuner's going to continue to tally up those kills as Mars Hill are just marching through this Skyline. No worries in the world as Newberry need to put some pressure on towards this hill. You can see K. Beasley going to send it through you. He does find the kill inside, but immediately Lucho, Aaron, they answer back. And they found their way in towards this. I like this call from Diff. He's going to try to work a flank, see if you can pull these spawns.
Yeah, great flank here from Diff, but needs to make a count with a second kill, and does. A lifeline for the side of Newberry. Over 100 points gone. The map virtually gone. But if you're going to start any semblance of a comeback, it needs to be from a perfect hold here on this P4. But it feels like it is only a matter of time for Mars Hill, who just have been playing perfect Call of Duty so far and show no intentions of slowing down as Lucho picks up 1 through the front. The push continues on. There's the second. Aaron with the third. And as easy as it could be, they push through the front. It's all up to Eternals to try and somehow break through the back, just orchestrate a pinch. A massive kill but again, only feels like they're delaying the inevitable at this point.
12 seconds. All Martial need. Diff trying to hold on for dear life. Slides in towards the back, and look at the teammates picking up kills. Kate Beasley fires off 3 towards the kitchen. That's going to give a little bit of breathing room now for the team to see if they can close anything within this map number 1. 19 seconds here after P4. And you can look at the arrows from Martial. I mean, they're just posted up. They are understanding that this is a win condition, that they don't necessarily need to break this P4. They just need 11 seconds on any of the next hills that come.
Yep, they can just take their time, play the scrap here and there whenever it presents itself, and don't feed into Newberry too much. Great performance from them so far. But Newberry rotated well for this point, but again, they've been afforded so much time here, Mars Hill, to just be able to get on it whenever it suits them best. They're in no rush here to get on this break.
Here they come. 4 different angles collapsing at once. 3 down to the feed. The break is in. The players hopping time. Spawning up all the way over toward the back of P2. I'm not sure if you have enough. The dives through, maybe for the contest. Hellstorm doesn't hit. And Mars Hill, a convincing map 1 in the series. 250, 115. A little bit of a late resurgence coming out from Newberry Esports as they started to put together some time towards the end of P4. Maybe a good rotation to flip spawns over towards P1, Zep. But in the end, I mean, it just felt like it was inevitable.
Yeah, absolutely. It was only a matter of time. Mars Hill, they had just done such great work at the beginning of that game. I mean, not even the first rotations were done, and they were nearly 100 points in the lead, and they just showed no signs of slowing down after the fact. And the disparity in KDs as well, you pointed it out between Zuner and Trax. I mean, ending up between like 65 kills between them. I mean, just a barrage of hellfire being rained down upon the opposition, as Mars Hill, you can see here from the graph, remaining clearly in the lead and only stretching it towards the end. Newberry showed their moments, but again, the majority of it in vain, as for the most part, they just weren't able to touch Mars Hill.
And it was mostly like that 4-second set of rotations. I mean, you look at P1 to P3, you only get 4 seconds of time between those hills. You had a little bit of a break, though, into that P4 towards the end. That's where you got majority nearly like 40 points off of that one alone. And I think it's just that stretch. You get to that rotation, Mars Hill, they beat you to it. They're just commanding the top side of the map. And with the power of Trakes and Aaron, like you said, or Trakes and Zuner, like you said, it's just it reflects here. I mean, it shows like you just got outslayed in the graph. Let's be honest, Zep. So big game coming out from Mars Hill to open up this grand final. I mean, they look final at this moment. Rewind, Search and Destroy, though. We head to one of the newer maps for this split. A Search and Destroy that has been welcomed by me. I mean, I love this map, and curious to see how much Newberry have worked this into their repertoire.
Yeah, I'd be really interested to see. And I mean, it feels like the perfect moment to once again bring up that how on earth did this map get lost in the pile and rotated out, and how did Vault Search and Destroy stay in for so long? Alas, people finally have seen the light of the powers that be and swapped up the maps. About damn time, as I completely agree with you. Rewind, Search and Destroy, a fantastic map, far more nuance to the map. Tactical plays are needed in comparison to the gung-ho mentality that gets you through a Vault Search and Destroy, no longer with us. Rewind S&D, you need to pull way more out of the bag if you want to take 6 rounds on this one. So these teams, it's going to be a case of them again. Do they remember playing it from before it was rotated out? How many times did they play it at that point? Again, it's just a case of waiting and seeing how they will play in this one, in the sense of what's their experience like, and does that muscle memory kick in?
I mean, give me a Rewind hardpoint at this point of the season. Like, come on.
Yeah, bring it on. Bring Rewind back for everything. Well, Control was kind of up in the air.
Hold on. Yeah, I think you're jumping the gun for that last one. But
I was just getting in on the hype. You're talking up the map. I started to remember the good old days. Remember that one time I got one nice kill in it at the beginning and thought, yeah, it wasn't so bad.
Yeah, I know. I miss being able to beat the attackers or beat the defenders to the control zone at B.
Yeah, it was great, honestly. Take me back.
That was something. I won't lie, but nah. Search and destroy. It's a welcome addition. Drake's on the flank for the attackers here in Newberry. They have no idea what is breathing down their neck. Mars Hill swiftly taking round one.
Well, I think it's fair to say the definition of a blink and you'll miss it type of round, as I kind of did blink and all of a sudden these 2 kills came in and I was like, oh, okay, I guess the round's over. But fair play to Mars Hill, again, just being aggressive, having it work for them. And yeah, if they can keep this up for the rest of the search and destroy, then that is a very damning omen for how the rest of this best of 7 series may play out, because this is a time for Newberry to answer back. And if they start to sort of not be able to deal with any sort of aggression and Mars Hill continue to grow in confidence, we could have a very short series on our hands.
Hopefully not, for entertainment's sake, but I think that's just the level expected from Mars Hill Esports. So a little bit of a lull in the start of this attack as Mars Hill looking for a way into A. Oh, passive defense. They've completely backed out of this one. Trakes is going to be forced in towards L, but a first blood drawn outside towards Burger. And Trakes, he just wants to go right into the belly of the beast. Traded by Kate Beasley. Lucho follows up. Now it's just Cells. And the rest of the team, they follow up. They take him down, and they take their second.
Yeah, another good round for the side of Mars Hill. Again, we're yet to see any chinks in the armor, right? We haven't seen the side of Newberry do anything to Mars Hill where even for like half a round or half a moment that you go, oh, they've figured them out. They've got them. They've gotten a wave of kills. They've gotten them locked down. And anything they've gotten across the 2 maps up until now seems to have been just like drops in the pond, right? I mean, it's been like, yes, it's been nice. It improves the KDs a little bit, makes the score a little more favorable, but nothing that convinces you that they found an answer to what Mars Hill are providing at the moment.
Now it's Newberry's turn over towards A. Journals, first one in, first one down. If K. Beasley gave anything, but he's turned around. He is looking everywhere. What at his opponents? Quickly, Diff's going to be in a 1v4, and hey, what do you do here? This is, what do you do to that?
Yeah, there's not much you can do. I mean, we're sitting here even looking at it, just maybe trying to offer some kernels of advice, and there's very little that you can offer because, I mean, Mars Hill just are so confident in the way that they're challenged and everything as well, which is now the worst spot you could be in for the side of Newberry, because you're dealing with the team who's not only seemingly, at least on the day, just more at it in terms of the gun skill and ability, but are also aware of that fact and are feeling confident about that fact. I mean, Mars Hill are playing some great Call of Duty at the moment and tracked already 6-1 with just 3 rounds gone. We could be seeing probably a record for S&D at this rate for how quick this one's going.
On rewind, nonetheless, too. Opening first blood for Diff. Here we go. Cells follows it up. Trakes not able to trade. Aaron in a 1 versus 2. Can he isolate the individual fights? He can't just yet, but he's got to play his life. We'll wrap around. Let's see if he beats this timing. Doors closed, so gonna have to make some noise on the exit, but laying down in front of him. Oh! Smoked Kate Beasley. Unfortunately, the bomb is down at B. He's got to go back to get it.
On a knife's edge here, it has to be said, Aaron, 5-0, no right to still be alive. I mean, if he wins this is disgusting to say the least. Aaron versus Eternals. It has to be Eternals if Newberry hope to rescue this one.
He's going to go up top. Waiting for it, looks away. 17 seconds. Drop it on down, a tough fight to take. And no, I mean, if you win that, you might be the best.
Well, I mean, he won one already that he arguably shouldn't have, so it was truly a case of anything is possible at that point. But fair play to Eternals, using the Heglets, making sure to get back on it in the end. He nearly kind of went overzealous and peeking the wrong way around, but making it once again difficult to be shot and getting the job done. Newberry buying themselves a lifeline, but I feel like they're going to need a couple of more of those.
That came off a fantastic first blood, too, out of Diff. And, you know, the fact that Newberry just collapsed on the rest of it, you just never really gave Marcel a chance to breathe. Diff almost doing it again, but Instead, it's going to be first blood the way of Mars Hill. Easily slamming out the door. Surely Mars Hill heard that one. Yeah, you can see these arrows. They've turned around already inside. Beasley able to trade, but numbers for Mars Hill Esports, they're just going to continue their reign of terror here on Rewind. And continue just finding all the kills.
Yeah, it's back to standard practice after that last blip of a round, back to just decimating the opposition, not really giving them any sort of inroads. And you're absolutely right. As soon as that audio cue came through, they just collapsed, converged onto the point and just snuffed them all out. I mean, Mars Hill just as a unit have been really, really impressive to watch the way they're playing off each other, right? I mean, Lucho is, just to be fair to him, not had as many engagements, whereas just Zuner, Aaron, and Trax have been getting all the engagements and winning out in them the majority of the time. Only 5 deaths between them all. But Lucho first blooded here. This is another chance for Newberry.
Trade on the cells, but even better call from the rest of Mars Hill just to give it up. So bombs down inside. They got to go back to get it. If the team can go all seal Team 6 on this bomb site, but I'm not sure Newberry's just going to let them walk in quietly. So I'm just going to wrap it all the way around here. Are going to run into a player walking out of Burger. That's Diff now to flip the map. Bomb still needs to be recovered, but a 2 versus 2, and now it's all down to Drakes. He's in trouble. Jackal's out, pinned in a corner. Going to be given the time of day for this gunfight, but he is just finessing at this point. No way he gets it done. Finally, Newberry. They get the flank down. They confirm the kill. They confirm the round. So keeping this one a 2-round difference.
Yeah, it was weird there. He just kept going left and right, and I was like, does he even want to take on this gunfight as he just accepted the inevitable? But then Diff coming round for the paint, sort of solidifying another round for Newberry.
That, like, you jump up. You see Trakes like jump up, tag him like a couple times, and then like ego chow out from the dumpster. I thought he was gonna put him on a poster.
Yeah, it looked like it was on the cards.
Newberry need a couple more cards drawn their way. See if they can put it together. Another first blood. This time it's Eternal. And take a look at Diff. He's walking all the way through Burger. He has found a lane. They don't know he's back here.
Oh, no. Oh, my God.
Okay.
That scared me for a second.
You're lucky he's in an RCX team. Well, the B-side's going to be open off of this one, and it seems like Mars Hill have taken the bait of quiet on A. So they check the bomb. They see nobody's here, and they're just going to work on through. They actually get an angle on the cells, so 2v2. With that, bombs out. Car on as well. 26 seconds to confirm this one. Newberry eventually going to have to trade this one or challenge this one in general. And as soon as they do, both members sitting and waiting for the challenge to come in. So you call the bluff. You know you got time, Zep. So all they have to do is post up and wait for the challenge. And that they do.
Yeah, Newberry, they kind of just played in the middle, right? I mean, the way that they were playing so passively and defensive after planting the bomb, they really had to stick to a strategy of just waiting that clock down as long as possible, or they just needed to play a little bit more aggressive towards the side so they could have an easier check. But they played in the middle. They played themselves boxed in and defensive. Mars Hill were afforded too much room to get towards the bomb, and at that point, they could just guard the bomb themselves and get ready for Newberry's inevitable check. So just ultimately getting caught in the middle of 2 strategies there, which just ended up being the worst option for them.
Let's see if Newberry can rattle off 4 rounds in a row in what would be a monumental upset here on stream. Eternals, he's all the way through. They don't know he's going to be in this position. Fortunately for Newberry, they're the ones on the receiving end of the first blood. New Eternals, he gives himself up a little bit too early. Turn and burn for Mars Hill. They march to victory so far. Second round done The second map is done, and Mars Hill is just as convincing as the first.
Yeah, Mars Hill continuing to pop off, continuing to look like the danger as they just absolutely run through Newberry. Again, a couple of moments here and there for the side of Newberry to take a few rounds, but how much of those rounds were just well-fought ones by them, and how much of it was the fact that Mars Hill maybe just took their foot off the gas pedal ever so slightly. I think you're seeing a team at the moment that's operating in cruise control, realize that this series should be theirs unless Newberry can step it up, not just one, but a couple of gears. But that looks like it's going to be a tall ask, as Mars Hill are just in complete control of this series.
Yes, they are. Looking at this one, too, I mean, a couple of first bloods for Newberry, not able to translate into a round win over into round 7. I'm pretty sure that's the one that was traded out immediately. If not, that was the retake in the 2 versus 2. Other than that, I mean, pretty sound. Only one round coming down to the objective. The rest of them just bang out to the bomb sites.
Yeah, bang outs to the bomb sites. I mean, like, it just ended up being, yeah, very, very route 1, I think, for a rewind, search and destroy. And I have to say, you know, they're looking like a side now, Mars Hill, to where you're wondering what fuck can they put wrong and what Newberry Esports can do to answer back, right? Because Newberry Esports, at least positionally, they find themselves in the right positions at times to, you know, get the Chalao and to, you know, take on these 1v1s, but they ultimately just don't win the 1v1s, right? Whether it's just accuracy, whether it's reaction times, whatever it may be, just Mars Hill are quicker on the movement, they're more aggressive, and not being able to have anything positive to take from maps that are different, like a Skyline and Rewind, makes me really worried for what's upcoming next in a Hacienda control.
We got a little bit of time before the Hacienda control, and everybody tuning in. If you've liked what you've seen from Mars Hill's side, and you maybe want to play just like them, don't forget, head to scuff.co/collegegod and dominate the competition with the brand new Valor Pro Scuff, the exclusive controller partner of College God. Welcome back, everybody, to Mars Hill versus Newberry Esports. The Southeast Grand Finals in our regional playoffs has been quite the, banger for Mars Hill fans. Newberry kind of getting slapped around, Zep, I will say, through the hardpoint, the search and destroy. I will kind of bring things back a little bit, though, for Newberry in terms of, like, that search and destroy. There are a couple rounds where I was impressed in the ideas Newberry are bringing to the search. It just seems like Mars Hill are in a different class, though.
Yeah, absolutely. It just seems to be a case of men versus boys in certain areas, with all due respect to Newberry Esports. I don't mean that in any sort of offensive manner. Just like, you're absolutely right. They have some tactics down. They know what to do in certain moments. It's not like they're pushing into things in the wrong way or ego challenge, taking on the wrong gunfights, getting caught singularly. They seem to be pretty aware of the fundamentals in terms of the nuances of what you need to do tactically well in Call of Duty. But when it comes down to those reaction times, the gun skill, the sheer speed of engagement, I mean, Mars Hill just as a unit seem to rotate around so well, challenge everything at 100 miles an hour, and just play at a different pace that Newberry have been consistently struggling to keep up with.
Well, let's see if Newberry can find a way into the series through the control, as we're looking at an offensive round to kick things off. K. Beasley has slipped the net. He's going to be in behind, see if he can punish a couple of these players at the spawn. Nice shots onto Drakes. Good read on that engagement. Now it's time to get lost in the sauce and see if your teammate can follow you up. Unfortunately for that one, K. Beasley has to double back because his team is in the dumps.
Yeah, already finding themselves in the blender, spawning out towards that B side. But you look at your map as well, you have Mars Hill very evenly spread, but quick to be able to converge towards that center from their positions as they just figure out where Newberry are coming from and stack up for the pushes to be able to deal with them. It is Luchu's kind of gone underneath who may catch good timing, or maybe timing out of it himself as he gets shot in the back. But Newberry, credit to them, they found a way out, found a way onto the B side. Now it's just a case of holding it and locking this point down.
You're kind of even thinking, like, where do you get back into the series? You know, what needs to be done? Obviously, like, the slang is such an obvious thing to talk about. But, like, it's moments like these that you need to see Eternals making plays towards the top side. See if you can provide a little bit of support for the team inside. Turn around, finish things off. Last fight in. And it's K. Beasley to walk away on top. So B-Zone gets secured. Eternal doing the Lord's work with that top plat control. And Newberry may be finding some footing here.
Yeah, and I mean, it goes back to what we were saying about that positional sense, the tactical sense, and Control being one of those maps, especially on Hacienda, where if you can get yourself into those right positions, you do set yourself up with a strong advantage to take on the future gunfights. It is just simply about that, being able to get out of your spawn, making sure you're getting moved up the map to get into those key positions. And it looked like Newberry at the beginning were in trouble, but they broke out through mid quite well, playing the checkerboard to kill feed trades that they ultimately come out on top of. And then we're just able to move towards that B, and from there picked up key positions and held them quite well as they're now beginning to outslay, sitting on this 8 point, 13-9. They have really turned this around from the depths of despair. Again, coming from what was I think a 23-27, where it looked like it was going to be pretty grim. They're buying themselves a lifeline here.
Hacienda could be that difference. An unfortunate engagement there for Eternals, but A. Beasley next up the block. See if he can make anything out of it. Only good for the one. The rest of the team jumping at this A zone. Another segment in. Marcel grouping up for a retake. You do have a split push from Zuner. He's coming in through Secret. He's going to be all the way under, and is the finishing touch for the break in. 4 down. No respawns for Marcel, but only 5 lives for Newberry.
Huge kill coming in there from Mars Hill. 4v4. It's a game of S&D, but only 15 seconds left for Newberry to do something here. They will have to get pushed through top center. Mars Hill have the opportunity to funnel them in. It's 2v4, it's 1v4, and it's pretty much all but done, as Mars Hill are going to take that first round on the defense, but give away 5 ticks in the process. I think Newberry will come away from that round feeling pretty happy with how that one went.
I think so too. Definitely not the outcome you'd want, but this is the first real sign of pushback towards this Mars Hill roster that Newberry are giving us. And B-zone control, capping it the way you did with Eternals having top off his control, looking towards those respawning players just to provide some space to the ones inside to not have to deal with that height. And it just allows so much for Newberry just to flourish in those tight spaces. So back onto the defense now, or onto the defense for the first time. We can see if Newberry can translate that first round into some solid shutdowns here in round 2.
And Lucho pulling out the weapon, finally putting away the dual katanas, rightly so. I mean, he's good, but surely to God, if he was going to be able to run around with those, that would be a bit of an issue. But getting straight pushed on to this point. But again, Newberry being in these positions, dealing with it well. Although Aaron, we've seen how he can pop off before as he continues to do so. A nice 2, 11-5 so far in this control. A star player picking up the 3rd, clearing a path for his side towards this B, as now his teammates will be able to come back him up, but picking up 4, nearly picking up the 5th while he was at it. But wow, I mean, Mars Hill, you sometimes might ask the question of how are they in a position where they're doing so good? It's just on top of what they're able to do as a team on the individual level, they have players like Aaron who can come through at moments like that.
Yeah, I like how you refer to the dual katanas as like a weapon, and like that suggests that the Jackal isn't, even though in the hands of anybody in God, it's like a tactical nuke. But
yeah, that's very true.
Newberry gonna have a chance to break over towards this B zone, and behind, flying out. Nice shots from K. Beasley. Lives about even. B still getting shut down from the defenders. It's only 42 seconds. So with this 3 down, I'd like to see Marcel take some opportunity to hop onto the zone, finish it off, and add some more time to the clock. But Aaron's got other plans. He's looking for the spawners.
Yeah, Aaron smells blood, wants to get it done, but can only do so for so long. But the most important thing for Mars Hill is that they are sat in the B. They have it capped, and now are moving straight towards A. They have so much control of the spawn here, as that was a wave of 3 kills. The virtual spawn trap in place. Cell's the only one out, but nowhere near getting this point broken. A huge kill, though, around the back. Means they might get a gap through, but surely at least 1 tick coming through on A here means that so far it's 4-5 on ticks. Another huge wave for Mars Hill. This has to be it for this offense.
It's all down to Cells. He's forced down into you. Rest of the team struggling to even walk out of spawn. Aaron, disgusting shots coming out of himself. Lucho right around the corner. This one is cooked. You don't even have anybody stacking the zone. This might come down to lives before they capture it. 3v15. Lucho's going to slide out. Finally, players looking to stack it. And they're just going to finish this off the good old-fashioned way by getting the objective secured.
Well, Mars Hill, my word, if you had pushed those spawns any far back, they'd have been coming up with an out-of-bounds message. Like, that was just the definition of
you might have
being
flipped
locked
spawns
down
in control pushing any farther.
Honestly, what other option would there have been other than just physically watching the players spawn in front of you? Like, that's the level of which we had. And it's strange in the way that they were playing it. It's not necessarily the tactic you would recommend, right? I mean, you had pointed it out before they'd even gotten that B site captured. They were very much happy in just being able to be spread across the spawn, getting picks here and there. And it wasn't initially working for them very well. So you wondered if maybe it was getting a little bit too much towards that ego child kill, death slaying, going for the kills type of way, as opposed to locking down the point. But once they got that B point locked down, they were just able to sit so far up and didn't even have to worry about going to A for the longest time.
Round one was a doozy, I'd say, for Newberry. Round two, not so fun. Let's see if they can find some of that power from round one once more. Aaron's going to put together two. You have some pressure from Zuner. Inside P2, he is just shooting you off spawns. And Lucho is going deep. He's going to try to see if he can watch them spawn up. But instead, he just forces those spawns a little bit over towards the well side. Aaron going to cover the trail. Pick up where the rest left off, and look at the life deficit already. There's 35 seconds. They haven't even gotten to zone, and there's already a 15 to 26 life difference.
Yeah, this is crazy. It feels like Newberry have finally lost the heads here. I mean, they've given it their all. They've clearly put in a lot of effort throughout this series to try and take rounds, to take moments from this Mars Hill team. But I think Mars Hill have finally decided that it was time to step it up a gear, get this one done, and they are just playing a whole different ball game. It's checkers versus chess as Mars Hill look to wrap this one up here 3-0 and go 3-0 up in the series. Inevitable at this point is, I mean, at 11 to 20, if they can do it here from Newberry, fair play, but this is a tall, tall task.
Let's see what they got cooking here. Stack onto B. Self-kill with the nade from Diff. And that basically invites Mars Hill for the break. 12 seconds. You're spotting up over towards P2. A quick dash through rock to see if you got it in you to get this one done. Hey, you're not allowed to bring an RCXD into this game. It doesn't matter. Time's going to drain out, and Mars Hill going up 3-0 in this grand final. Looking fantastic as ever in the Southeast region.
Yeah, congratulations to Mars Hill so far, because they have just been dominant. And again, you had a moment or two Newberry looked like they were going to present some form of danger, or at least make it interesting in the sense of more competitive. But once Mars Hill find their groove, it is just such a rhythm for them. I mean, you've Aaron double positive, Tracks not too far off, Zuner 21 and 13, and then Lucho again, you know, make no mistake, the role that the likes of Lucho plays in a team that's doing well, you know, you talk about a role that's very much that anchor to allow the rest of their team to excel in what they do best as well. That truly is what makes a great team. So even though you may see players not having as high or as flashy of a KD, you cannot underplay the role and how vital they are in making sure their side can be as dominant as we're seeing here today.
When you look back at the series, I mean, it says a lot in the way that Mars Hill are playing. And, you know, this is a team that you got to show some love to Mars Hill, because Megatron, he had a vision for this school in terms of their esports program and, you know, bringing some life into their CCL roster. And ever since picking up these players and adding Aaron into the mix, I mean, they were good. Now they're even better with Aaron alongside them, and, you know, putting up numbers like this in a grand final against everybody else in your division. I mean, this is a statement in saying that Mars Hill are ready to say, yo, we've been there, we've done that, now bring on the next. And they look hungry for some competition, really. And going into the playoffs with stats like this in a grand final, I can't wait to see Mars Hill take on some of the other teams we got in the CCL. I mean, Newberry, they had a fantastic season, and I'm not going to take that away from them, but it seems like they've met their match with Mars Hill, and this Mars Hill roster deserves so much respect for what they're building.
Absolutely, and it gives you such an indication of the levels that there are as well in Call of Duty as an esport, right? Because you have two teams that are virtually flawless in their count up until this point, and then, I mean, you're seeing in front of your eyes what Mars Hill are able to do here. But Mars Hill, they do seem like the type of team from this performance who are ready to kind of go up and play against the big boys and see how they do there. But in saying that, for all we know, we could see Mars Hill go up against a team in future and all of a sudden be in the same position as Newberry. That's just the difference in the levels that you see across the board here. But they won't be thinking about that for now. All Mars Hill will be thinking about is the end goal, which is truly in sight for them. One more map needed to round out this best of 7 flawlessly, and doing it on a map that they're just after showing so much positional dominance in. For Newberry, this one really isn't looking good.
Mars Hill, their end goal, it's LAN and nothing else. Anything else would be a disappointment for this school. And with records like this, I mean, they are putting no doubt in the minds of viewers that they can make that happen. So heading over to the Hacienda hardpoint, Newberry, this is it. This is your last chance to show exactly what you're made of. Heading into the playoffs next week.
Yeah, and so far very much a back and forth in this P1 as well, but that's kind of been Mars Hill allowing Newberry to get towards the point to figure out where they are, get the wipes, be able to pick up the scrap, and then also rotate perfectly over towards that P2. You can see they have the spawns absolutely locked down there. Newberry spawning over towards the cut and fences side, and it is Aaron who's going to be very aware of that and is just going to try and chop them down here around the back. Picks up one. Isn't a little bit of danger, so it does rotate out, but again, you just talk about that map and that spawn awareness. Mars Hill just have complete control of where Newberry are coming from here, funneling them through almost with a second-by-second perfection.
Couple of kills here from Newberry. Pretty sure those are body shots, but gonna see a little bit more from them now. Off the break into P2. Good slide out from Kate Beasley. Bait and switch. He's got help, so pushing on forward. Still back spawns for Mars Hill. A little bit of time for Newberry here. Can they hold on to it from the front side? Already pushed back. Mars Hill battling out of their spawns, battling back into the second hill. A knife from Aaron across the map. He's going to catch some routes and look to P3.
Yeah, Aaron, been a player who's been really feeling himself throughout the course of this series alongside Trax as well. 7-3 to begin with here. Again, we're seeing such a KD difference. 6 deaths across the board for Newberry, and not really enough kills to make any of those up. Meanwhile, Mars Hill, it's all going perfectly for them. 7-3s, 8-4s, 5-2s. It's all positive for this side, not just in their kills, but also in the point tally that they continue to rack up. 60 points in the difference here just by P3, as they seem to not want to let Newberry get any uncontested time. They're making them work for every second they get.
Here we go. Newberry in. Aaron on screen. Slides out. Not able to find a second dip with the shutdown. Keeping Newberry in this hill, but still a lot of work to do if they want to hold on to it. Good trades out the back. It looks like they've done enough to force Mars Hill to the rotation.
Nice kills coming in there from Aaron and Lucho, and Diff picking up one as well. The rotation is going to be very difficult here for Newberry, and I'd like to see them show a little bit of an ability to be able to break from front, because Mars Hill, when they set up, they look very, very dangerous, and they have been completely set up now for this P4. So the push is going to be largely through the center here for Newberry. Need to make sure they don't get funneled, but not off to a good start so far, as Mars Hill have a lot of information. They're going to get the push out, and then big kills going in here towards the point with Beasley with 2, but that's still not going to be enough. Mars Hill retaining control of the point here.
And a knife on the Lucho. Here's the follow-up. Newberry slide in. Drake's pistols out. B-shot in the back. Zuner in. As this trade fest just continues back and forth. Finally a break. Kate Beasley gets the 2. And there's 20 seconds on this hill. Mars Hill gonna have to send some bodies hill. Drake's on the flank. He's in behind. It doesn't seem like they're going to be ready for this one. They all line up. Drake's has some help, but it's 4 down to the feed.
Completely clean wipe. Tracks 15 and 8 as well. Just a phenomenal KD. Is Mars Hill very much just having fun here, it seems. I mean, Newberry, again, you have moments like that. They answer back with 3, getting the 4, and giving themselves a little bit of time to get on this point. But you and I both know what a P1 is like. You are not going to be able to hold that for any sort of time unless you have complete control of that center, which Newberry are already losing as Zuner picks up 2. Trax gets the 1, and Newberry putting up a fight, but we're only able to get a couple of seconds from it now as Mars Hills answer back with a bit of time of their own.
It's a second set. Boomer up top. He's just going to slide. Shout this one through. Beautiful shots. On to K. Beasley. A double kill in for the time is going to be Aaron soaking up a lot off of this first one. Drake's up through Secret. He's going to pop up for another double out of this squad. Last time around, it was a big battle in the back for the spawns from Newberry. They were never able to break it. This time again, it's Marcel solidifying the anchor in the back. They're going to have to set up towards New, but not the bodies here to back it up. So a little bit of pressure in. Do they spawn up? They will. Lucho inside looking to hold on for the rest, and they're here. Lucho roars in with 3 and locks it down.
Yeah, just continuing to slay it out here. They've had enough. They're wanting to show off a little bit as they just continue to push, almost in a way where they're not even too worried about spawns. But now knowing there's a little bit of danger coming in from the side, that's instantly nullified by Lucho now as they slay out the front push. There's only one left, and Zuner, even with the pistol to try and finish the job as I'm weak. His teammate gets the trade ultimately in the end up, but now going to be over 100 points in the difference as Mars Hill will begin their rotation towards P3. You do have Aaron around the back there who picks up the kill against Beasley. Now Mars Hill will be able to set up with the spawns, get a pinch onto this new point with Newberry spawning as far out as they possibly could. Mars Hill still in complete control. Newberry have no way so far been able to break through.
Well, heading over towards New, full setup from Mars Hill. They're going to have the spawns as well, and look at this from Drakes. He's just flooding forward. Now to see if he can catch these players looking to lock into this hill. Newberry grouping up for a break. All 4 members going to be here, but it's a parade in one by one. Diff's going to line them up, but even still walking away with the rest of this in a 1 versus 2. K. Beasley going to have to pop off now, finding the first one. Knows the second is flanking. Looking to stay alive, but open over the fence, and it's a momentary break for Mars Hill, but Newberry get back in.
And Newberry, again, fighting tooth and nail to try and get as much as they can from this game. You have to respect the grind and graph that they're showing here just to give themselves any sort of an edge and get the most out of this grand final situation, as they've shown at moments they can pick up kills, specifically Beasley, as he's rotated around, picked up a nice few 2 pieces here, there, and everywhere throughout the series. But again, just even individually, not quite enough consistently. And then as a team, haven't been able to string it together. I mean, you look at the likes of Cells and Eternals, 10 and 24. I mean, you hate to pick on a player, but it's just not a KD that you need at this level. If you want to get through, you can't be a sort of a weight that your team needs to carry. And this team definitely hasn't shown the ability to be able to do that. Whereas if you look at the side of Mars Hill, you have a player like Aaron, players like Trax, even Zuner, who you could probably rest your hat on to be able to carry other players through an off day at the level at which they play. But no single player on this Mars Hill side is having an off day today. All 4 of them are absolutely slaying out here and look pretty much unstoppable.
Yeah, they look top tier. I think Newberry, I mean, there are a number of things that you can look at this series and work on, but it is just a different game that Mars Hill have practiced for, and they are sharp, they are hungry. It's fierce competition when you get towards the top of the CCL, and teams like this, teams like Mars Hill, they're just setting themselves up for a future in the playoffs, a future potentially at LAN. A 4-0 sweep in the grand finals of our Southeast. Mars Hill undeniable in their region.
Yeah, undeniable champions of their region. Massive congratulations to Mars Hill Esports and commiserations to Newberry, who showed their moments, but I think it just was a case of men versus boys here in the day, as Mars Hill looked completely dominant. At moments went into cruise control, but when it mattered most, locked in, got the job done, quick, clean and efficient, making short work of a best of 7 here against this Newberry side. Every single player standing out at one point or another. Lucho finally having the moment KD wise, but Zuner taking a little bit of a backseat. But Aaron and Trax, as they have done throughout the entire series, showing why they're part of a team that wins at this level. Massive congratulations once again to them. A very, very strong victory across the board.
Yeah, congratulations. I mean, not only a win, but a convincing win at that. I mean, this just solidifies yourself as the best in your region, and it's not even close. So heading in towards the playoffs, I mean, this is a statement. Like I said before, this is something that you look at. Mars Hill, they know they're the best. They know they're ready for the playoffs. And come time to play teams like Oklahoma Christian or Fisher, maybe even Fisher B, St. Clair, you name it. There's so many teams out there, even Northwood, that could take on this Mars Hill roster. But you put Mars Hill in those scenarios, it is going to be an absolute war when we get into those battles. So I'm excited to see when Mars Hill get tested on just how far they can be pushed. But for Newberry right now, that is not anything that is going to feel good when you look back at this series. But you can give them a couple flowers for the run that they have had in through this playoff in general for the regionals. I mean, going all the way to the winners finals and winning your matches against other teams below you, 3-0 against UT Chattanooga, 3-0 against the University of South Carolina. They went up against KU Navy, another 3-0. It wasn't even a test for this Newberry team, Zep, until they played Mars Hill Esports. Even in the lower bracket, they dropped down for a second. They got that rematch versus UT Chattanooga. And UT Chattanooga took a map off of this one, but it was still a 3-1 victory. I mean, besides Mars Hill, Newberry were the next up. It is just showing how big of a gap it is to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to be the greatest, you have to step through many different levels. And, you know, you have to give, as you said, so much credit to Newberry Esports for the way they have performed up until this point. Maybe not really benefiting from the fact that they hadn't been challenged up until this point, right? I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, you could say Mars Hill Esports were the better team, but when you're a team that's maybe a little bit more of an underdog, sometimes you need to play in a couple of situations where your back is against the wall to understand what you need to be able to do as a team when you're not in the driver's seat. And Newberry, having not had the experience of that until getting all the way to a grand final, means that they just wouldn't know how to switch it on when it matters most, or when it comes to playing on the back foot, playing on the defensive. They didn't have the reps and being able to deal with that. You throw in a combination as well of having a new map such as Rewind come in. There's just a lot of variables in there to where, I mean, if you're the strongest team instead of the second strongest team, you're really going to benefit from the fact that if neither of you has been challenged up until this point, it's always going to be the strongest team who's going to be able to make that final leap at the grand final.
Well, for right now, I'd say, Zap, I mean, this is it for our grand final in the Southeast. We still got more matches on the CCL tonight. A lot more to go. We still got to get through the Midwest and then the West after that, folks. So don't forget to show some love to CCL. I mean, regional playoffs has been fun. Obviously, we got playoffs next week as well. We still got more matches tonight. We'll throw it to a break. We'll get things switched over. Coming up next, it's the Midwest.